Be available that weekend.
Yeah.
You mentioned Australia, first test match, guys. Australia versus the Lions. You know, talk about selling out. I mean, this is a big thing. Once every 12 years in a specific country, Australia, New Zealand and South Africa. Did this one live up to, hey, we're a bit fast there. Did this one live up to the expectations? You know, for me, is it surprisingly, is it a surprise that Australia was so
Underwhelming.
underwhelming and not competitive in the first half? I mean, check that first hit.
I mean, Curry was exceptional. I think if there was one selection, query we had is like Jack Morgan's stats before on tour was way better than Curry. They pick him at open side flank, and he led the physicality for the Lions. Ironically, we'll see afterwards. You see the Australians team talk afterwards, and you see Will Skelton, Rob Valentini, Taniela Tupou.
Yeah.
You think if you're lacking in physicality,
Samu Kerevi not there.
Those guys, experienced players,
Yeah.
and they are going to lead the physical charge against the Lions. So I think physically they got outdone. Look, the Lions side's a proper side. And credit to Australia for hanging tough. But to be honest, the game was well out of their reach after, the first 40. That 122 entry, and that's Max Jorgensen's try,
Yeah.
where the Lions had multiple 22 entries. Gibson Park again, exceptional. And Finn Russell,
yeah.
how's that ball off the left?
Yeah.
It just, sorry, you guys, Shams.
Yeah, and this is the spiritual. The reason they had this taste there, because Australia are meant to be difficult to beat. Now, if you go back a year ago, we thought, okay, Springboks beat Australia easily away from home. And then All Blacks were always going to win. Argentina, so it was like, where's Australia next win going to go? They beat England. Then everyone started creating this hope that, shucks, they could do it against the Lions, competitive against Ireland also. But this is exactly the nightmare that people didn't want to see, a Lions trip where the British and Irish Lions just basically run through Australia and go through unbeaten. At the moment, if Joe Schmidt, look, you ask, Corin Betty would have made a difference, yes. Kerevi, yes. Valentini, yes. Taniela Tupou, yes. Angus Bell was good when he came on.
Yeah.
At least there's a bit of a hard edge. You think about it now. And the Fly-Off not playing in Japan,
Foley.
Bernard Foley's got experience. O'Connor comes off the bench. Then it's a different looking Australian team. This, unfortunately, the second test, if the Lions improve and Australia improve, it's a victory for the Lions.
Because it went to 24-5,
Yeah.
and this is obviously the only time that Australia scored points. Early in the second half, it was 24-5. They never looked threatening in terms of their attack.
No, they played some decent shape, but they didn't have any go forward. And this is sort of the theme. You look at this, Dan Sheehan was exceptional again. The one highlight for me was Max Jorgensen on the right wing, the one who scored the try there. He was exceptional every time he touched the ball. It looked like something was going to happen. But yeah, the Lions.
That's just too easy, isn't it?
The Lions, and there's our man Curry, who was leading the charge. He was exceptional, as I mentioned, especially in the contact points. But yeah, if you're losing the collisions in these big games, you're in trouble. And we love Suncorp, a great stadium. We as the Box always had a hard time until the Box convincingly thumped them there. But this is a quality side, and the options. There's Curry again with a try. There's Sheehan, as I mentioned, but it's all around the axis of Gibson Park, and then you add in Finn Russell.
Yeah.
Proper players.
Because I think I said it, I can't remember if it was on one of the shows or whether it was on Supersport itself. Gibson Park, for me, has been quiet in terms of this
The whole tour, yeah.
Yeah, a couple of mistakes, things you don't usually see from him. But, I mean, they were on song on the weekend, and him and Finn Russell, the ability to make the right decisions as the decision makers in the team, and really leading, the pack. They were good on the weekend.
And they were also the Lions were disappointed with their performance, and it's still a win. But you ask yourself, where can Australia put this Lions team under pressure? Not in scrums, not in the mauling, definitely not in the contact areas. Trying to line out, not really. I can't see an area where Australia, you could say...
There's not a skill set difference where they can't put them with a skill set.
Yeah.
And what it was encouraging for the Lions was obviously, yes, they got gain line, but they weren't different to what they played week in, week out.
Yeah.
They played that link-up play, offloads, trying to stay on top of the ball. And that carries 5 metre over the gain line. That gives Gibson Park front football. James Lowe fronts up. He was, again, a handful. And,
again,
it's just
dropping
too
off.
easy, dropping off tackles. And the issue with the Wallabies side, you think, is, too many inexperience in big positions. You know, like you think obviously it was unlucky that Lolo Lucio at 10 got changed. Nothing against lineup playing. But then Champion de Crespigny plays his first test match as a blindside flanker.
Yeah.
He put himself about, but there's where you want serious experience going like, listen,
Want some hard men there, yeah.
Tom Curry, I'm coming around the corner. Can you put me away? Yes or no?
Yeah.
And if you had a Valentini coming around the corner, the answer is no. You know, he's gonna keep Curry busy.
This was essentially a big penalty in the context of the game, because you could see they considered doing the tap and go and going for the try, which would have blown Australia away then. But the fact that they got the 3 points, you know, towards the end of the game, where they had the 8-point difference compared to, you know, being less than 8 and 1 score away, kind of made the difference at the end.
Yeah. Also, I mean, Jean, at this stage, you know, you're sort of happy for Australia that they're coming close or whatever it is. I thought, remember, we were watching it. We're like, it's going to be 45, maybe 12 or 13 or something like that.
It looked like it.
It looked like it.
Well, I'm still trying to figure out how the hell was it not more?
Yeah.
And that was Lions' discipline.
Yeah.
You know, they allowed so many 22 entries. This is off the back of multiple Lions penalties. So, like, if you, the Lions, you want to sharpen up on that, you don't want to take away from your intensity, but your breakdown accuracy in defence, they fronted up, but they just conceded so many penalties. And we almost see the same in the box game at the moment, where there's a lot of penalties going against them and sort of small handling errors, and then a set piece doesn't quite function. And like Georgia later on, like they had a proper start to the game because of the box inaccuracy.
He was good, Tate McDermott, when he came on.
Also more experience.
Yeah. Adds energy. That's he's the spark good.
And a bit of tempo.
Yeah, he's good scrum off on the bench. He's got the eye for a gap. He's explosive over 10 meters. So he's perfect for that though. But also when you come on just to rescue a game the whole time, it does make it a bit difficult. And obviously here now, this is just desperation time here. That has been questioned now.
No, exactly.
Yeah, that's been questioned. Like, is it the right mentality there? Take the ball up, at least try come out with a, you know, try
get closer.
Try get closer or something.
Yeah.
So it says a lot about the psychology at the moment.
And do you think that was it? Was the attitude from Australia, you know, psychologically, was it, okay, let's see how close we can get it, rather than really believing that you can win it?
Yeah, it's not the Australian way, is it?
You hope not. You hope
I hope not, yeah.
Because then the second test match will go against them. So I can't believe that was it. Look, I mean, also I looked at that and I was like, I wouldn't kick it there if I was Wilson. I would just, you know, I'm captain, I'll truck it up.
And,
you know, if someone wants to kick it out or we concede a try, so what? We gave it our all. So I think, you know, you've got to have a bit more fight than that. But the game was done. They're never winning it. So, you know, like maybe, you know, that end score flatters Australia a bit, and maybe that gives them an extra relief for this weekend. I don't know.
So let's talk selections for game 2. Game
Australian,
2, in Melbourne.
So you got
100,000 people.
Yeah.
Bell's got to start, I think.
So let's start with Australia. So firstly, when we looked at that Australian team, and you've got Jake Gordon at 9 and Tom Liner at 10, with all due respect, is that a combination, 9-10 combination, your drivers in your team, that's going to give you a victory in a Lions series?
Well, I don't think so, but definitely if you don't get gain line.
Yeah, then there's no chance.
There's no chance.
So, like, I think they both need players, and they're running a Joe Schmidt style, which is like what we come accustomed to Ireland run, similar to the British and Irish Lions, but that's based off the back of gain line. If you don't get gain line, you're static and you're passing it, you're getting caught behind the gain line. Your decision-making then suffers because of it, and you feel the whole time like, okay, there's a red wall in front of you. So I think you've got to change up front. But if you're Joe Schmidt, he goes with this first test team. He doesn't change it. I think he believes in these players. Must be. That's why they're selected.
So you don't see changes.
If it's me, I go look at Skelton, even if it's starting or 40 or coming off the bench 20. You bring Valentini for gain line, because last year in November he was exceptional. He was their player.
I think those two were injuries.
Concerns.
Yeah, concern.
Bell starts though, surely.
Bell starts
in the front row.
If Tupou's available, Tupou's got to play.
On the bench, somewhere there.
Then you've got...
Where's Salakai?
Lotto.
Salakai Lotto.
He was playing for the Anzac team.
So why is he not in the...
He must be involved, because you need bodies, types to challenge the Lions. Like gain line you had last week, you don't have it this week. You know, it's a different game then. If you go into game management, start kicking it, you lose that rhythm instantly. I
Because the
don't
Lions
know-
came with massive line speed.
Yeah, I don't know if
defensive.
they can change much in the back line, to be honest. I don't think there's
White?
availability. Nick White can come in. Maybe you start with McDermott for the
Yeah.
snipe.
Yeah.
Keep them busy. Because if you're playing against Lions, the one area where you can attack is close to the ruck.
Yeah.
You know, make those rucks dynamic. Keep it tight. But you need body types to go through the guts, and they didn't have it on the weekend.
And it felt to me, you have like a Swali'i, the phenomenal player, but you can't just expect to pass the ball to him
and he must do
make
everything.
magic.
Yeah.
You know, you
Yeah.
need to have the players out the back. You need to have that kind of bodies in motion to attract the eyes of the defenders and get the one-on-one opportunities, which I just felt they didn't get. Stephen Jones writes that the Australian opposition has been woeful the whole tour, and in future they should play Fiji and Samoa as warm-up games rather than the Aussie domestic teams.
Yeah, that's quite controversial, but that's Stephen Jones. He loves that type of story.
Look, when the Lions came here, it's not like, they ran through our provincial teams.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't like, it was close.
I actually think that's quite hard done. Was it the Waratahs who ran them quite close?
Yeah.
Waratahs
They did, yeah.
was really good. And most of those games, the first 40 was quite tight. You know, it's just...
So let's move
the first
to
one.
the Lions team then. Any changes we see happening there?
Why would you? What?
no.
Nah. You can't really think of someone that...
didn't
play.
perform,
Yeah, that didn't perform. Or
Genge was exceptional at loose head.
He was.
Genge was good.
Sheehan
Sheehan was good.
Furlong
Furlong
carried.
got the carries.
Furlong was good.
Toji worked hard. Byrne was good.
Byrne got
McCarthy,
man of the match at
McCarthy, maybe question mark. Maybe.
But what then? Then you move Byrne to lock, or
I
do you
think
bring in
Byrne-
Chisholm?
Chisholm, maybe?
Look, whatever we question of their selection,
we were thinking
yeah.
7, 8, 6 might be, but
Yeah.
then
worked.
Conan was good.
Yeah.
Just worked his socks off. Ben all comes off the bench. You know, like he adds
Yeah.
a nice dynamic off the bench.
Yeah, I think if they wrap it, it probably won't change. If they wrap it up, though, I think they might make changes for the
Yeah, I
last
think
test.
so.
yeah.
Yeah.
So next test match, pretty much the same team, same starting 15 for.
Yeah. Look, I would love for Australia to win this next test, but I just don't. You question unless once we see the teams, then you can sort of say, okay, maybe something's happening.
Yeah.
But if they go with like for like now, I just don't see how Australia can win.
Come on, Australia.
Come on, man, excite us. Give us,
Yeah, like
give us something. Give us something
I
to
want
win.
to decide because then anything can happen.
do.
But
Yeah.
Like,
That is
for me, you make wholesale changes because it's your one shot for the Australian
Yeah.
side.
And
It's a pity, though, man.
did Rassie back in 2021? There was a couple of changes for Test 2, wasn't there?
I know Morne Steyn came on the bench for the last.
There was a few changes.
There was a couple of changes.
So I mean, it all adds to the
To the
mystery
intrigue. Yeah,
and
yeah,
the
you want a Lions
and the
series.
history of the
I
line.
can't see as much drama as, like when it was back then with, refereeing and videos like we did in 2021 with Rasta. And
Are you saying Rassie's controversial or?
there was a lot of drama. and we're doing it behind closed doors. Like I remember after the first test match, whenever there was a big tackle, we were screaming in the crowds and the Supersport people actually said, quieten it down because they can pick us up over. How weird was
Strange
that?
series. I remember, was it at your house after the first test?
Yes.
We all became experts in rugby. Till 5 in the morning.
Till 5 in the morning. Yeah.